Carl House promising a return of the land to the people through using tools such as expropriation of land without compensation, calling for the nationalization of the Reserve Bank, a creation of a state bank, saying that the current ANC is dead and it no longer offers, I suppose, a place for the ideals of the founders of the organization to be realized. Your response to the news by Carl House starting this new political movement?
I mean, we have to just take also into consideration that Carl House was at the door about to exit the ANC, not necessarily by himself, but a disciplinary committee had adjudicated on that. But secondly, the issue of the sort of mission that you're talking about, the mandate that you're talking about, of course, is not new. We saw it with the EFF when they left the ANC with Julius and them at that Congress of the Youth League. So it's not new to that extent. However, there's a credibility issue here when they want to talk about all of those resolutions around the Reserve Bank, around land, and the state institution of the bank. So I'm not quite sure how far they're going to go. It depends who the people are that form part of this, whether it's a social movement, whether it's a political party. We'll have to see the final details as we move forward and whether there are credible leaders that are able to sustain this mandate.
One should note that the Economic Freedom Fighters, headed up, of course, by Julius Malema, probably speaks the most on these issues. So why doesn't Carl House just join the EFF?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that perhaps personal differences between the EFF and the ANC, we've seen that. And there may be also just differences of leadership. The rumors are that the EFF president tends to obviously form a cult around himself, and so the leadership, broadly tends to then revolve around him, of the EFF, that is. So I think that's one of the problems there. Secondly, I think it has been a long time coming for the ANC to have another breakaway. I think at the last Mangaung conference and post that now, 2017 at NASREC, they've been able to avoid having a splinter from the ANC. And we'll see how big the splinter will be. If you look at the reports around RET and the Soros Ramaphosa faction, it's quite clear that the RET faction inside the ANC is quite small, constituting a very small minority. So I can't imagine that any splinter with regards to Carl House right now would constitute a big one. And I think this is what accounts for the discussion on his part, whether it's going to be a social movement or a political party. With a political party, it would be very difficult, I think, to have a big group to leave the ANC. With the social movement, it's okay. It would make sense so that a social movement is able to litigate, is able to campaign, and is able to advance the development aspirations of ordinary Black South Africans. So to that extent, it won't challenge the ANC.
I was about to ask then, how does the ANC respond? Because this could be a gift that they're being handed over by Carl House, particularly if the movement is going to attract those within the ANC that are no longer desirable because of their association with state capture, with criminal activity, and all manners of things that perhaps it might be best suited for the ANC to get rid of those people.
Yes, definitely. I mean, it's a catch-22. I don't think it would be wise, one, on the part of the ANC to then say, well, good riddance, and send out a public statement towards that effect. I think, one, that will obviously depend on whether this is a political party or social movement. But I don't think the ANC will be scratching their heads, because I don't imagine that a majority of their members, or even at least a big chunk of their leadership, is going to leave the party and then form a different political party. I think they understand that there's a crisis of leadership within the RET faction. And that leadership is not only, the crisis of leadership is not only within the ANC, but it's broadly within society. So whether you have a person, I guess, if one were to mention names, whether you take Gigaba, whether you take Carl House, with their own scandals, and then say they must form a political party, provide leadership in society, that's going to be very hard. So I don't think the ANC should worry as such. I can't imagine that it would be a big problem with the splinter of Calmy House.
Well, regardless, he's giving them notice, as he said, saying we're going to take them on. We are not taking them on because we hate them personally. We take them on because they have betrayed the liberation struggle. They do not deserve to be called the leaders of the African National Congress, he said. Thapelo, thank you very much indeed for your insights. Dr. Thapelo Tsebelapedi is a political analyst, reflecting, of course, on the news that Calmy House is to launch a new broad civil society and political movement.